I think that a lot of people, see the big time superstars and they see the flashing lights and the whole big stage, but they don't see who the person is behind, the camera.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Call The Huddle podcast. Today's episode, I'm joined by Zach Garcia of Peterson Sports Management, an all-around sports agency that includes talent from the NFL and college football, among other football leagues. Hope you guys enjoy. Thank you for watching, and now let's get to it. For you, when did your passion for sports start? For sure.
Yeah, so I grew up in the DMV area. I'm sure you've probably heard of a lot of great athletes from that area. Caleb Williams, Blake Corum, DeMarco Hellams, Jalen Coker from the Carolina Panthers. These are all young men who, I grew up with and, have spent a majority of my life knowing. And just being around guys like that naturally, I was able to, be in an environment where the competition levels were always high. And I envisioned myself going on to play collegiate sports, which is ultimately what I ended up doing, and was thankful to have attended Delaware State University, where I was an athlete, considered an athlete. So I was playing multiple positions there, and ultimately finished my career at Catawba College, which was, pretty a pretty awesome experience as well. But yeah, started from a very young age and was truly passionate about multiple sports, whether it be basketball, football, lacrosse, and just, just being a multi-sport athlete, I think truly provided me with that passion to do what I'm doing today. And that's working and continuing to work with awesome young men and women as they, journey down the same path that I was once taking, both on and off the field. So.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Obviously, a lot of people are former athletes. You learn to love the game, you learn to love all of that stuff. I think it's cool you mentioned all the different sports. You talk about how you guys represent women,
Right.
and just trying to be all inclusive and stuff, because that's what sports is all about.
Right.
For you, the flip with agency and stuff, especially since 2021, it's turned a whole 180. When did
Yeah.
marketing, when did that, your passion for marketing, and how did you, when did that start for you
Yeah.
specifically?
Yeah. So initially, I interned at a smaller agency, which, kind of gave me the opportunity to break into the arena and realm of sport representation. And I was still in college. I actually ended my playing career early to kind of focus in on the sport representation side. And what better way to kind of break into the industry than to do marketing and kind of build relationships from that aspect with, new potential clients that you're going to be working with, and showcasing to them that it's more than just getting you a contract for a professional sports team and, just doing the whole 9 yards. So how can we support you in growing your brand? And that was doing camps. That was, building relationships with local businesses and, companies that were enthused to have worked and we're going to be working with awesome young men and women in the area that were leaving an impact on the community, both on and off the field. And I always say both on and off the field because you're bigger than what you are and who you are on the field. People want to know your character, your background. Are you a people person? Are you good with children? Are you lenient and flexible in terms of your schedule? Just being able to showcase that side of the individuals that I was working with and was hoping to work with was my reason why I was, entering the marketing arena. So that's kind of, what started things off for me. And yeah, that's still something that I am a part of in terms of the in-depth piece of what we offer here at Peterson Sports. And I'm still, kind of spearheading a lot of those journeys for the people that I work with for sure.
Yes, sir. That's awesome. I love to hear that. Everything you got going with Peterson Sports is awesome too. But the one thing that I've always respected and love about all agents, for you guys especially, sports, it's similar to a lot of different fields, but it's a lifestyle for you guys. You guys are just, you mentioned the camps, you're representing someone's face, you're just being friends with someone, and it's a lifestyle thing in terms of every day.
Right.
When you talked about learning this from your father a little bit, just kind of looking up to him growing up naturally. When it comes to the lifestyle part of it, when did you know how to get it right? How did you know how to perfect that aspect?
Yeah. So as a former Division I athlete, I saw the schedule, that not only myself was going to be a part of, but I knew what others was like as well. So naturally, I always had to perfect building the relationship from an aspect that allowed me to meet with those individuals that I was potentially going to be working with. So it's all about kind of aligning lifestyles and timelines as well, because it's a ever evolving landscape. You're either on the field, you're training, you're in the classroom. You also have your social life and your personal life that you want to live too. So being able to figure that out was pretty big for me in terms of, like you said, the lifestyle that we live and matching the lifestyles of the individuals that we work with. Um, I really started to see what my dad's impact was in the 10th or 11th grade of high school. I thought it was super cool to see my dad like going to different states and visiting with top clients and going to meet with NFL GMs and staff and things of that nature, as well as Canadian Football League, which is still an awesome opportunity. I'm like, dude, you're in Canada. This is pretty sick. And he's like, well, son, it's not always flashing lights. Like this is a lot of hard grind and work that goes behind the scenes. And he kind of gave me the ins and outs of what to do, what to expect, and early on, I saw that was something I felt that I was going to be capable of understanding and dealing with, and naturally just kind of flowed into that state of like, listen, I'm going to do what I have to do in order to get the accessibility that I'm ultimately going to want to have with the people that I'm and the clients that I'm looking to work with. So, yeah, it's always a fast paced environment, and it's always super exciting when you. It feels very rewarding when people begin to trust you and put their aspect of who you are into reality, and it's like, wow, this feels really accomplishing for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Uh, that's awesome, and it's like I said, like everything about that is cool that you had that type of role model in this space because like I said, it's easy, like especially with how many agents there are since 2021 when NIL started. It's easy to get caught in like the transactional aspect of it and like
Right,
the job. Like everyone's got a job. You're just trying to get through your job, but it's like that for some people.
right,
And that's awesome. I think that's a lot of like really cool stuff. It's what I appreciate.
for
Uh,
sure.
Talking about like Peterson Sports, like how long have you been doing that specifically? And then just tell me like what's Peterson Sports Management about?
Yeah, so to give you a little bit of background about Peterson Sports, we're based out of Atlanta, Georgia. Have represented a plethora of young men and women who have gone on to, leave huge impacts on their schools and their programs, and post collegiate careers as well. Um, Founded by James Peterson, who is obviously Peterson Sports Management. He's been doing this for over 15 years, and he kind of gave me the opportunity to come in and spearhead the marketing department, and also as a junior agent, just allowing me to build my portfolio as well. And with the opportunity, I've grown in tremendous numbers of building relationships with people that I'm potentially going to be working with and looking to work with in the future. But yeah, no, James is an awesome guy. He's actually the head agent for the NFL division as well. So a lot of those guys that I recruited, he went on to do the contractual negotiations and stuff from that aspect. But I kind of spearhead the NIL department, and that allows me to naturally flow the opportunity for James to work with those young men as they continue in their professional careers. And just building the camaraderie, the Peterson Sports camaraderie. We've been able to work with tremendous amount of athletes, but the people that we work with, we're very strategic about who we work with, because if you're going to be representing us, we want you to represent us well. Vice versa, it's it's a relationship that needs to be viewed on both aspects as a positive note, and that's something that we take pride in and want to make sure that people are excited to actually want to work with Peterson Sports. We offer multiple different opportunities, whether it be financial advisement when it comes down to signing an athlete, obviously, financial advisement, marketing, camp opportunities, investment opportunities, and just making sure that you're a real well-rounded individual, because it's not just about the sports. It's about what we can do for you outside of the arena, the stadium, the field, whatever it may be. We feel that we can offer a significant amount more um, than some of our peers. And naturally, I'm going to speak very highly of us, but I believe that we truly take pride in what we offer here, and we do a great job at standing on that for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir. Like you talked about like the you guys pick a select few. Like you guys have to go through a long process to in order to like recruit someone and you make sure they're the right fit for Peterson Sports. Obviously that's such a huge thing with NIL. Like high schoolers like you need to start learning that. Like in terms of like you always hear like you're representing your school or your like community and stuff, but like the next level, like guys that want to go to the next level, like you have to know
Right.
you're always representing something bigger than you. Especially like for those that want to play at the next level, play college, or like even play smaller level of college and stuff. Um, Talk about like your journey with Peterson Sports. Like, how long ago did that start for you, and then how have you seen the company grow since then? Like you mentioned.
Yeah, so I actually joined 2 years ago, or going on my second year. I was at another agency prior to this, and I parted ways respectfully, and ultimately, came to Peterson Sports because of one of my best friends, Justice Ellison, who was the running back for last year's Indiana program, and he was actually a transfer from Wake Forest, and he's been a big supporter of mine, since we were kids, and to see him, do his thing and ultimately want to take things to the next level professionally. He was just like, Zach, look, I'm heading over to Peterson Sports. I think it would be a great opportunity for you to interview and see if this is a great opportunity for you as well. I think that that was definitely the main reasoning behind coming to Peterson Sports. And after meeting with James, he was like, "Look, Zach, you bring a lot of experience and opportunity for us. We think you'd be a great addition to what we're building here." And I was fully on board from the beginning. Being one of the youngest in my industry. I take pride in maximizing all of my opportunities because, as you know, this is a dog eat dog world, and it's always about just maximizing whatever opportunities you can at a younger age. Because as you continue to grow older, the level of opportunity kind of decreases in a way, because people are more inclined to want to work with younger individuals, and I think that's kind of given me the upper hand. So starting early, I'm like, I have to be on top of things. I have to make sure that I'm developing and crafting relationships that are comfortable for the young men and women that I'm recruiting. And yeah, that's how I ended up at Peterson Sports, and it's been a great opportunity for me to kind of learn a little bit more about myself as well. My negotiation tactics, and my public speaking, and the whole nine yards. There's been a lot of different avenues that have allowed me to expand on who I am as an individual for sure.
That's awesome to hear. Like you
Yeah,
said, like the leadership role, like directing the NIL and all that. Like being in charge. Like it's cool to hear that your growth,
for
just
sure.
over the last 2 years. Um, like I don't know if I'm putting you on the spot, but could you mention like the draft class? Like do you have the full list or off the top of your head like of the draft class you guys got or that you're
Yeah, so
representing specifically?
I can mention a few names for sure. John Darius Morgan, out of UAB, formerly at South Carolina. Adonis Freelo, who was at Tulane for a short stint and then ultimately finished his career at Baylor. We've got Khalil Benson, who you had the opportunity of speaking with as well. Started off at Indiana, went to Colorado, and ultimately, wrapped his career up on a high note at Indiana, winning the championship. Brian Felter, who's also, a standout guy at Rutgers. He's, awesome. Jaquez Moore out of Duke, running back out of Duke. Botros Alessandro, out of ODU. He was formerly at Purdue. And I mentioned these names off the top of my head because these were some of the individuals who have believed in me towards the beginning of my career. And yeah, we've got a great class that we've brought in, including guys like Isaiah Austin, who was at Army, was one of the best receivers in the nation. At Army, went to Iowa State, and then ended up finishing his career at JMU. And there's a few other guys who I haven't mentioned as well, but our class was pretty spectacular, and I do appreciate those young men for taking the opportunity to work with us, and as we continue to journey towards their professional career, continuing to make those phone calls and having those meaningful conversations with them that will result ultimately in an opportunity somewhere, whether it be a camp invite, undrafted free agent contract signing, and unfortunately, some of those guys weren't drafted, and that's okay because the opportunities are all you need. We definitely want to take advantage of everything that's in front of us and capitalize off of everything that's being presented. So we never, if you don't get drafted, this goes for those who are watching. If you don't get drafted, it's not the end of the road or the end of the tunnel. There's still plenty of opportunities for you to continue your journey, and we're going to support you and rock out with you until the wheels fall off. I feel like that's something that kind of separates us as well, is that we're loyalists. I take pride in due loyalty, and I'm going to rock with you no matter what. And, from a personal perspective, from an agent perspective, whatever it may be, I'm definitely true to who I am. And I'm going to treat you like a human being and not just another number. So,
Yeah, I know that's what's crazy about this time period is it's so much build up, but then like the work's just getting started for you and everyone your way and the
right,
players and everything. Like it's all getting started now.
for
Um,
sure.
and one thing that I know that like another thing that about being an agent, just like that, is a big step, but like I always have loved is the diversity, like the range of people you speak to. Like you mentioned, like John Darius is from Alabama, like Brian's from Jersey, like yeah, like you said, Khalil's from like Mississippi. Like everyone's from different
Right.
areas. Like what have you learned about yourself in terms of like trying to connect with so many different types of people? Like have you learned anything about yourself socially like that?
Yeah, I definitely feel that I've got charisma. I do take pride in that as well. I'm definitely eager to build relationships with the family members because they're going to be, a catalyst piece in this journey. They want to know, where's my son going to be? Who's he going to be working with? What's this journey look like for you in terms of representing my son? Have you worked with anyone in the past that has allowed you to showcase your talent levels, as well as just getting to know all kinds of different people and individuals in the process, whether it be themselves, the family members, friends. There's coaches that even want to get to know you a little bit in the process, and that's awesome because you do a good enough job. Now you've now built a new relationship with the staff member or coach that's like, look, Zach, we might need a kid next year, or for the NIL perspective. It's just different avenues of building that relationship,
Yeah.
and just growing with the individual themselves. I think it takes longer than people would imagine. It's not just a week or two of conversations. It's months of talks, and hey, going to the games and visiting the young men, just to check in on them and showcase to them that there is true pride in working with them and that we take their journey seriously. So do a lot of phone calls like this, Zoom calls, building that face-to-face connection if we aren't able to actually meet with them in person, and just staying on the phones, building that comfortability factor, and just growing to know one another better. I think that's something that is key in this process too. So I do take pride in being able to navigate and maneuver through different conversations and different pieces to the puzzle for sure.
Absolutely. And that's like I said, like as one of the like I mean, it's fun for me cuz like I always love meeting different areas of people, but I know some agents and some agencies like kind of stick to a certain, region or certain types of people like and stuff, but I think it's awesome like I said, like just
Right.
all those like you said all the people that kind of have put their trust in you, like, you're putting that back.
For
Um
sure.
which is awesome too. Like, I hear a lot about like the family aspect of like a lot of people want to chase the family in
Right.
an agency, but like a lot of people say that and don't really know what it means.
Right.
But you're kind of putting like a lot more to what it means. Like you said, loyalty. It's like to the extreme. Like all that stuff is awesome. I wanted to like transition that into NIL a little bit. What's your take on NIL and how has it changed? Like I guess first off, like is it good or bad in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. It gives the athletes from all different sports an opportunity to capitalize off of what they've built in this space. Whether it be soccer, baseball, football, lacrosse, basketball, whatever sport it may be, it's empowering the young men and women to, um, you know, continue to do what they're doing at a high level. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to capitalize extremely off of NIL. I played at Delaware State, and I also played at Catawba College. So, we did get a stipend, but we weren't, making hundreds of thousands of dollars in that fact. But when I look at the opportunities that the young men and women that they have today, it makes me really happy because at one point there was not this opportunity. And you can look at the Johnny Manziels and the Reggie Bushes who, were being penalized for, some of the things that were taking place. And in reality, they definitely deserved a little bit more than what they were getting. So yeah, I do take pride in seeing the positive aspects of what NIL can do, changing a lot of lives. From some athletes who might not have necessarily had a great upbringing and some issues in the past that might have set them in a financial burden. It really just all of the entire aspect just allows them to do different things that they can do. You can now invest your money properly into real estate portfolios and all kinds of great things that can set you up for your future. And that's the biggest thing for me, is utilizing your NIL earnings to build your future, investing in the proper way and utilizing your money in a way that can leave an impact for you, many years after your collegiate experience, for sure.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. You mentioned like Manziel, like all that stuff. Like I know, like probably like 11 years ago at this point, like Destroying was a dude who was playing college football and like did a YouTube channel and couldn't make money
Right,
off of it, couldn't monetize his stuff, and it's like that's a crazy thing. Like I mean, it's so crazy. Like I said, I've talked about that so many times in terms of like you couldn't even make money off of a side gig just because you were like had a brand on the side of everything.
right,
Um, but that's also just goes to show like how progressive everything's been. Um, you mentioned like I think everything you mentioned there was awesome, like empowering athletes. Like I think it just builds more leaders. Like sports is all builds leaders in the world and builds like people who are student athletes are all the best leaders and that type of thing.
right,
But like you mentioned, it just empowers more and more like leadership and more people that are going to go out and get their own and like more educated people and stuff like that. It's awesome.
right.
Uh, how have you seen like or I guess the one question I wanted to ask too is like how what are your biggest focuses with NIL in terms of like new people, new acquisitions?
Yeah, so definitely being able to showcase what I've done in the past. People want to see what you've done and how you can help them. And when I get on a phone call with an athlete or a family, I always emphasize the fact that it's not about anyone else's journey. This is about what I can do for you. So I kind of grasp what they're looking for, and how I can support them, and the fact that I'm able to do a lot of different things for you, and I want to make sure that whatever you're looking for specifically, that I can support that. So a lot of people are like, Zach, are you able to support me with setting me up with a financial advisor? Are you able to support me, with building a real estate portfolio and connect me with a tax expert? Because as a lot of people don't know, taxes is a thing in the world of NIL, and we want to make sure that our guys are, being set up for financial success and ultimate financial freedom. So definitely want to offer different aspects of what I can do and kind of build that comfortability in that aspect as well. But also getting in front of them. I actually just left one of my athletes' houses in Wake Forest in Winston, Rushan Tung, who's going to be pretty awesome, impactful player this upcoming season. But just went out there to drop off a care package to show him like, look, I'm here for you, buddy. Like, you need anything, we sat down for about an hour and a half, just chopping it up, talking about life. And I decided to, pop out and just enjoy some time with him. So just building that personal connection too, I think is, kind of setting me apart from my peers. This is awesome. The Zooms are great, but, kind of want to view you in person, get an idea of who you are outside of the screen, and vice versa. I want you to be comfortable with me and just want to make sure that I'm there for you when you need me the most.
Yeah, that's like I said. I appreciate all that. Like just like your intent with all that in terms of like I said, like especially like the last 5 years, like the whole agent world is blown up, like where all that stuff like gets washed away. But I
Right.
really I appreciate all that stuff. It's comes through. Uh, Talking about like I know you mentioned the taxes like that's something that a lot of kids don't even hear about when you hear about all these big NIL deals.
Right.
Um, when with the whole draft process you got going on right now, or just in general, like what's one thing that you feel like the public doesn't know about that you would harp on?
Yeah, I would say definitely the taxes is a huge thing. A lot of people think that the money is you see a $800,000 opportunity to Texas Tech, but little do you know that there's money being taken out on top of that, and we want to make sure that those guys are doing the right thing, and come time to pay the taxes, that they have the money set aside to make sure that that's taken care of. But I would also say another piece to the puzzle is it's the character. You could be the most awesome athlete in the universe, but if you're not you know if you're not showcasing your character, and that you're a good person, and bigger than the game, um, it'll definitely um, it'll definitely put you in your place. I think that a lot of people, see the big time superstars, and they see the effect that they have on the field, and they see the flashing lights and the whole big stage, but they don't see who the person is behind, the camera, all the time. And that's something that I take pride in, is working with awesome human beings. If you've got some past situations that would would have me questioning your character and who you are as an individual, I kind of steer clear from those people, because I need things to be fluid, and I need to trust that whatever we agree upon is going through the right way. So I think that, yeah, you see the flashing lights, you see the big time plays, but taking time to really learn about the person as a fan, and as an agent, or whatever the case may be, taking the time to really learn about someone and their past is really huge, because you just want to know who you're supporting. So I think that that's another thing that I would prioritize as a fan, just seeing things behind the scenes a little bit, for sure.
Definitely, I got you. I got you. And that goes to the same way as like I hear players talk about situational awareness, like on the football field. Like it's just you've been a seasoned agent. You've kind of been there, seen that. Like it's everyone's a human type of thing.
Right.
That's cool. I got two more questions I kind of wanted to ask before I let you
Yeah,
go.
for
But this
sure.
is a ton of fun. How are you doing so far with this?
I'm great. I'm great.
Sweet.
And these are all great questions too.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
My Penn State degree pays off constantly. I
Yeah,
say like
for sure.
I'm a Pennsylvania dude, so I always say that pays off for real, so many ways. When it comes to like negotiating, like I know you're NIL, but like with with a lot of this going on with like all your clients and stuff,
Right.
getting these deals and everything. Like I said, you've grown up knowing negotiating, like seeing it through your dad. Like I'm sure it's a whole like art for you. What's one thing that surprised you about like negotiating, or like how you do it, especially?
Yeah, I would say as I grew older, um, it's actually a lot more fluid than I had imagined. It's a lot of it is based on relationships, and allowing individuals to trust you enough to 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 bring somebody in that they know could be of great utilization. And you do it long enough, you start to see that it kind of turns over quickly, when it comes down to speaking with whoever you may be speaking with. People just want to instill trust in you and make sure that they are comfortable with the process, and as you continue to build those relationships, naturally, there's that connection. So now they're like, look, we know that you brought us a great guy last year. We were high quality young man, and damn did he show his ass. He's killing it, and he's just a great human being for us, and we love having him here, in our organization. looking forward to seeing who you have next year. And we bring another high quality individual, and they put on great, put great film out there and great numbers. And now it's just like an ever evolving, situation. Now you're continually, building that image for yourself. Vice versa, you want to work with great people too. So that's a little bit about that background there for sure.
I got you. And like I said, like you said, it's like all trust. And that goes back to like earlier we were talking about like you want to pick the right people to represent you. You want to like a lot goes into that. So much goes into like making sure that trust factor is there, like in on
Right.
all levels.
One thousand
Um,
percent.
uh, Looking forward, like what are the goals and outlook for Peterson Sports and yourself and the rest of the year to come?
Yeah. So now that the draft is ended, obviously, we want to make sure that we can support our guys and to getting opportunities, at different organizations. And then, we've still got our NIL class that we're focused in on and want to make sure that we can prioritize them as well. I think we're going to be hosting some camps this summer, too. So definitely want to make sure that the numbers and logistics are taken care of. So, we definitely want to make sure that we're settled in there, and then preparing for next year, going after some names who we believe can be called based on who they are and what they've been able to do, and then continuing to like I said, build the relationship. I've gotten on a few calls this morning, and they're signed with other agents currently, but they're like, hey, looking forward to the future, and that just continuing to build the relationship because you never know how things could turn out. Maybe they're no longer happy with where they are, and they're not necessarily getting what they felt that they were going to get when they first entered into the agreement. But I never overstep. I just let things kind of flow the way they are supposed to, and um, you know ultimately just looking to see if it could result into something that is beneficial to both parties. And like I said, I want to work with great people, and I'm looking to see if they're willing to work with me as well, because at the end of the day, it's an interview for both sides, because we're looking to see what they can offer for themselves and how we can support them, and then what we can offer to them in the same. So yeah, just continuing to grow and continuing to develop and craft myself as well. I'm young, so I've still got a lot of learning to do, and I take pride in that. I'm not tooting my own horn or anything like that, but I think at my age, I've accomplished some pretty good things, and God willing, I continue to do the things that He's going to grant me for sure.
That's awesome. And the things you touched on, like that goes back to like everything that I learned, like when I wanted to be an agent, like when learning about it and all is like it's all about authenticity. Is like the best agents are authentic, transparent. Like it's like all goes back to that type of stuff. Like you mentioned, like everyone, you want the best for your other agents and people like people who aren't even your clients. Um,
Right.
but like if you're transparent about everything and like authentic to yourself, like that's all that matters. Like you said, your intent's all like all there and everything. But it's a hard word, a hard world, like you said. Like it's a super like open market everywhere. Like everyone wants the best for themselves, like type of thing. But like
Right.
maintaining that authenticity and transparency and like everything else you touched on is like is awesome. Um, Last one I wanted to ask. You've been looking at you know looking at this job for a long time, like in terms of
Right.
like you've been seeing how it's done, thinking about what it'll be like when you're there and everything. To someone who's younger, like getting into who wants to get into like the representing football player sphere and like and all that stuff. What would some advice be for you, like to someone younger looking to get in like their foot in the door?
Yeah. So I would definitely say one door closes, another door open. Starting in my journey, I was turned down by a significant amount of people, but I was allowed the opportunity to come in and work with other individuals who were willing to give me a shot. So especially in this arena of sport representation, a lot of people are very closed off. A lot of people are not willing to support you. um, it is a very niche market. So a lot of people are not necessarily willing to help or support you. but that doesn't mean that there aren't people out there that want to support you. So I was, thankful to have, started off, you know, seeing what it was like, and then ultimately kind of utilizing my background and from some of my connections that I had built growing up, to put myself in a position to succeed. And I never really took no for an answer. That's another thing. Never take no for an answer. And always I always say, keep your mouth closed and your ears open, because you always want to consume information. You want to continue to consume information, and the right information at that. And never speak on anything that you don't necessarily know about just yet. But yeah, that's some of the advice that I would give. And cold outreach is huge. Email as many people as you can. Someone's gonna say yes, and someone's gonna give you a shot. So that's definitely my advice for sure.
That's cool. I appreciate all that, Zach. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
100%.
And
Yeah.
like I said, everything you've been saying on here has been awesome. Like, really, really stuff to live by. Like, and also, like, like you said, like, Peterson Sports has a lot going on. They're going to be booming soon.